we are going to discuss about blockchain. So nowadays there's a lot of buzzword about some of the technologies like blockchain, artificial intelligence, machine learning, web 3.0. So one of those will pick up and explore. So the topic for the day is like blockchain. What is blockchain? Is it some sort of some framework, some technology, or like is it some is it type of a concept, or will understand this how it can help, why it's so popular and gaining so much popularity nowadays. So every nowadays we have heard of that word crypto. I think everyone has heard of that word cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Solana. So these are some of the coins on cryptocurrencies that we know, and Bitcoin is the most popular one, and I think the first cryptocurrency. So, and which is built on this blockchain. So why does blockchain comes into a picture? So blockchain is basically a method, is a new way to enable the people to trust the technology. So let's consider the scenarios earlier. Like for example, there's a person A who want to deal with the B. This person A or P or entity A and B can be any entity like business, person, borrower, and a banker, hospitality, insurance company. So basically, A and B are in a deal. So basically, if A and B are doing some type of a dealing, there's a money is linked in this, and money is involved. So when money comes into a picture, we have those trust issues like whether A will fulfill his all the things that been there in the deal, all B will fulfill all the requirements that have been mentioned in the deal. So to make sure that we have some governing body, so we have some C party. Here, C party, let's take an example in legal terms. So, if we talk about in C, when you do some, you buy a house and you purchase a car, or you even do like marriage. So, there's basically a government is involved, like you pay the taxes, you had those paper documents, registry is done, and marriage certificates are there. So, birth certificates, government IDs are there, passport is there. So all these are terms of legal documents, and this makes surety that this person is basically, like if we talk about social security number, that person means is being might be a resident of United States. So that's make a guarantor that C party is involved, and C has some either it can be a government, it can be a bank if you are doing a transaction between two parties. So these make sure. Now, what is blockchain? So, if we talk about more of a definition in technical terms, so blockchain is basically a decentralized ledger that maintains a continuous growing list of data secured for transferring and revision. Every user is allowed to connect to that network. So, basically, for example, let's say you want to do some transaction. So, there is a block, and after this, there's another block. So a new block is formed whenever there's a transaction happens. And in this block, we have the details of the transaction, like who had done this. So in this block, basically has a lot of information, and these blocks are not located in one place. So they are basically distributed. So there exist a multiple copies of these documents. So, like for example, let's say they are and they are basically distributed. So it's basically a distributed network, distributed system. Or, for example, let's say like there are n number of nodes. Let's say these are nodes, and all these people will hold a copy of this. So these people will have a copy of this blockchain or this records, and whenever some transaction is happening, let's say like A is transferring some value to B, to make this registry from this node. So nodes, basically these are the nodes. These need they need to make sure that this is correct, and to make it make to work it, that if there are like six nodes, to more like six nodes, so we need to have that consensus of 50%, greater than 50%. The same way, like if like we need to have the consensus of four peers. And blockchain, so where this blockchain comes, so you have heard that of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, from blockchain, this Bitcoin has the main thing, and this is serves as a public ledger. Now we'll say like why we need blockchain, why we need blockchain. Like there are multiple organizations, they are storing our data, and like what's the requirement of new innovation, or why we even need this. So the reason for that is like if you consider any organization, so like if you pick any organization, like whether it can be any organization, let's say like X is the some organization, you are using its services, so they keep a record of your data. So like you are using the service, they keep a record of your data. So basically this X might be owned by some private company, some individual entity. Your data has been stored into their databases. They have the right to this database. So for example, in future, if you want your data to be get deleted or to be removed, you need to approach these folks, and might be sure, you can't be sure that this private owner or entity will be deleting your data. Like right now, if you are using smartwatches, the smartwatches will be tracking up your data, and right now there's a lot of debate is happening in the industry for like data privacy issues and all those things. So if we consider like if anyone is keeping your health records, you are wearing smartwatches and watches, and they are tracking your heartbeat, blood pressures, and all those things. So might be the risk is that if they have the all the data, so they can sell the data to insurance companies or hospital industry, and they will increase your insurance cost. Like you are eating more sugar or having a diabetes, like your activity is not normal, you are not walking daily, so that way there's a benefit of that also, but there's a misuse of your data can also happen. So basically that's why data privacy is nowadays a major concern. So for this, earlier, so if we talk about in application, so earlier if you have been into have a brief little bit understanding, so earlier we have this centralized apps, anything, so these are centralized apps. So basically here client backend database are centralized. After that we have another model which is distributed system. So companies, major IT companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, they have distributed system, and their data and servers, databases and servers are spread all across the globe, so that to have the good availability of the service. Basically, this increases high availability of the services. And then we have this dapps. So dapps is basically decentralized app. So blockchain is basically Bitcoin or blockchain. We talk about these are dapps. So now, what's the dapp? So like you have gone through. You have data structures. You have algorithms. You have protocols. So same goes with the decentralized app. So decentralized apps have their own data structures, have their own algorithms, and have their own protocols. Now we'll debug a little bit of decentralized app, like what are the advantages and disadvantages, uh, and we'll discuss more about this protocol and data structures and algorithms in the coming sessions. But yeah, to get a high level introduction, we'll discuss about decentralized app. So basically, as we discussed on the top, that there's a node and all these peers. So basically, in the network there are peers. These peers have a copy of that entire system, so everyone is running the system. So and no one has the no single entity has the control over it. So it's difficult to like manage those things, and you cannot play with the things, or you cannot misuse the data or what the system is. So let's discuss about the advantages of the dapps or decentralized apps. So basically the first one is fault tolerant. So these D apps are basically built on distributed systems, distributed architecture they follow. So and distributed architecture have high availability. So that's why they are fault tolerant. No single point of failure. So basically there is no single point of failure. So like if you want, like if government wants to shut down or force to like shut down the system, shutting down is next to impossible means you cannot control, or there's no central control and no single authority controlling it. So if you see nowadays, like if we someone tweets in Twitter about the government, if government does not like and thinks that this person or this organization is speaking against us, so they like using or misusing the power of laws and forcing the people or organization of Twitter like to remove that content or something like that. So there's no single authority. So if something's we have this blockchain technology, so then it will be harder to remove that tweets and all those things. But like everything has some advantages, so we have a disadvantages of this blockchain. So what are the disadvantages of this apps, decentralized app? Sorry for my handwriting because it's might be very poor. So like if we have a decentralized app, we can update and we can we can provide patches to that application in a very quick and easy way. But fixing and updating will be difficult because we are not sure like how many number of nodes are there, how to reach those nodes. So basically fixing and updating will be difficult, and it's right now difficult to build because of complex protocols. Complex protocols are there, that's why it's difficult to build. Third one is like right now we are using javascript and all those things, so we need some API to store the data. So if if we want, like we are using we are building a decentralized app and they might be using some centralized API. So tightly coupling of those decentralized app becomes difficult, because if they are using those APIs or some APIs it will be it might be centralized area, so that it becomes a really a challenge to make it distributed. And if we talk about in banking industry, like we all do some KYC or some recognition of your customer, so generally called as KYC, know your customer. It becomes really difficult in dapps to identify your customer because we don't have a one centralized control over the data. That's a major of the disadvantages of the DApp. Please let me know how you like the video. Share your comments, share the video, like, and please subscribe if you like the content. And the series will be releasing more videos like this. Thank you very much.